Okay, so we're going to do a mat class today. No particular props, but you can use any that you might have at home if you want to. We're going to start really gently with a pelvic clock movement. These are small, subtle movements of the pelvis, therefore the lower back and hip joints. And it's worth just going quite calmly and really feeling it in your own individual body. Some areas you might notice on, say, one side of your lower back is a little tighter than the other side. Some movement directions might come more easily than others. So it's a sort of self-assessment tool as well, a pelvic clock. So small, detailed, but really important little movements that we need to try and retain in our hips and lower back. So go ahead, lie down on your back to start with. Once you're on your back, you want to have your knees bent, so your feet flat down. And if you feel any kind of tension in your neck, then you might benefit from a folded towel or something small under the back of your head. So you shouldn't feel your neck's kind of grabbing or unpleasant. For the purpose of the pelvic clock, it's quite nice to take the feet slightly further out than normal. So instead of being 1 foot length from your sit bones, just take your feet slightly further away from your body so that perhaps your knee joint is more at 90 degrees. And that should just allow your pelvis to really rest quite calmly and easily. And as you're lying here, before we even begin, you can feel your own anatomy as you touch the mat. The curves of your spine are unique to you, so we're all a bit different. That's important to remember. But as you're lying here, we'll all feel that the back of the head is touching a mat or a small head support prop. You've got a curve in your neck, an inward curve in the neck, cervical spine. The mid-ribs should be relaxed and down. You've got a very shallow curve in the lumbar, or again, that's a lot of variety in different people, but there's a curve there and the weight's right at the back of the pelvis. Just relax your shoulders, let the arms relax long, just take a few breaths and visualize that image of a clock, just a normal clock, the numbers around a clock. The clock is placed on top of your pelvis, whereby 12 o'clock would be where your navel is, 6 o'clock your pubic bone, and 3 and 9 are the points of each hip. And at the moment, that clock is shining up to the ceiling. Now, in your imagination, imagine in the center of the clock is a heavy red marble. It's got a bit of weight to it, and try and feel it sort of sinking a little bit of weight on your belly. We're going to start really gently by just trying to roll the heavy red marble into the navel. So you're just tipping your clock, your pelvis, and imagine that ball is rolling into the navel. It's really heavy sitting there. And then just tips, so it levels off. And again, really small movement. As you tip your pelvis to roll the marble into your navel, try and feel a little tone in your abs as you do this. They'll be drawing in to tip the pelvis and then level off. A couple more times, super simple. And try to feel the movement in your joints. So as you do this little tip, your hip joints will be moving and your lower back, the bottom few vertebrae of your lumbar spine, will also be moving and flattening down. Now, if you go the other direction, if you roll the marble down between your legs to 6 o'clock, you'll notice that over arches the lower back. So now you have a more excessive arch in your lower back, and then level off. Okay, now go all the way to 12, where you're a little tipped, tucked, all the way through neutral into that little arch. Now, sometimes on some bodies, doing that tip that way with the over arch feels a bit unpleasant on the lower back. It can feel a bit compressive or pinchy. So don't go there if it doesn't feel comfortable on your particular back. One more time, forward and back. Finish with the ball in your navel and try and feel your lower abdominals here. And then level off and try and just feel very lightly your abdominals. So you can just notice a little bit of tone there, but you can still breathe. Now we're going to do the side to side, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock. As you do that, keep your knees pointing to the ceiling. Tip your pelvis as if the ball is rolling towards one hip, the other hip is lifting in the air. Go through center where you're level to the other hip. Now try and feel a little bit aware of your feet pressing down. Get the whole foot on the mat as you do this rocking side to side one. Try to watch you're not leaning onto the little toe side of the foot. Big toe joint is down, the whole foot's down. And you want to feel this in your hip joints. This sort of rocking side to side, you're basically going into internal rotation on one hip and external on the other hip. So it's kind of moving your hip joints around basically. And we need all these little micro movements in order to walk well. Last one. And then level off. So now your pelvis is level. Now we're going to do the hip hike. So pelvis stays flat, but shorten one side of your waist, as if you're putting one hip up towards that armpit. One side of the waist is short, one side of the waist is long. Shift through center and do the other side. And again, this can feel quite asymmetrical. So you might notice one side of your lower back feels a bit pinchy when you do this. And one side feels freer. Imagine your tailbone is doing like a little J-wag from side to side. So you're opening up one side of the lumbar spine, and then you're opening up the other side of the lumbar spine. It's just giving that little movement into those joints of your lower back. One more each way. When you're doing like an exercise with one leg in the air, like the single leg circle, and I say, watch, you're not hiking. This is what we are talking about when we think of hiking. Finish with your pelvis level, so both sides of the waist equal length. And the last one we're going to do is the circular clock. So if you imagine you're rolling your marble into your navel, you're rolling it around to one hip bone, down towards 6 o'clock, around towards 9 o'clock, back to 12. Now really move your pelvis freely, and imagine that ball is rolling around the circumference of the clock face, hitting all the numbers. Watch that you're not missing any out. And finish with the ball in your navel, and then you're going to reverse it. Now, this really gets that lower back moving. Imagine if you were like a salsa dancer. I always like to think that if you watch Strictly Come Dancing, Johannes, that South African dancer, has got really beautiful fluid movement in his hips and lower back. And you want to kind of channel that doing this, like really get that fluid movement around the back and hips. And then just level your pelvis and just settle for a second. Now, if it helps you, you can put your hands on your pelvis here. We're going to try and stabilize now. So think of your clock, your pelvis staying still. Place your hands on your tummy if you want, but try and feel those two slightly prominent hip bones and gently engage your tummy. Now we're going to try and lift up one foot an inch off the floor. Use your abdominals a lot, and then you try not to twist your pelvis. And put it down. It's very hard actually, this one. It looks like nothing, but it's challenging. When you lift up a foot, try and feel that you're not doing a little twist in the pelvis. The ball isn't rolling to 9 o'clock or 3 o'clock. So you really need to kind of get that deep ab connection. And really try and keep the pelvis still. So you'll notice when you lift up one hip, the pelvis wants to twist, and you're trying to not let that happen. And try and feel what needs to happen in your torso muscles, your trunk muscles, to try and keep that stability. Now try and take the leg a little higher, so all the way kind of to tabletop. And down. Now this takes concentration and it takes practice. So if you can feel your pelvis is shifting, it's just something good to practice. It's a little kind of pre-Pilates really, gentle but really challenging at the same time. Now take one leg up to tabletop. We're going to try and switch legs in the air, and we're trying to maintain that stable spine and pelvis. So when you're ready, breathe out, switch legs, put one foot down, one foot up. Pause. Take one foot down, one foot up. Now watch that when you're doing this, your ribs and your mid-back are not lifting off the floor. So feel those vertebrae in the middle of your spine. When you switch, try not to let the spine move and arch away from the ground. That takes a lot of strength and control. One more switch. Good. Now bring your 2 feet down and just relax again for a minute, because that's quite an intense core exercise. Just set up your feet 1 foot length out from your pelvis, spread out your toes, and take a moment to really feel the soles of the feet pressing down. We're going to go ahead and do a really simple pelvic curl. So when you're ready, roll the marble into your navel. That's the start of our tilt. Roll up to the base of your rib cage and pause. Now just check your feet. Have you still got weight even across your whole foot? Could you roll the marble a bit more into your navel, curl your tail under and reach your pubic bone up more? Press into your feet and reach your knees forward. Now, come up a little higher, but not crazy high with the rib cage. Think the pelvis, you're trying to tuck it under and lift up your hips, not your ribs. Now, when you roll down the spine, try and feel each vertebra to your best ability, rolling down sequentially, and then leveling off at the end. Okay, nice and calm. So you're going to start with that. Roll the marble into the navel. Peel your spine away from the mat. Press the arms down a little bit. Just check your neck. You want to be looking at the ceiling. Watch that your chin doesn't tip backwards. Good. Here, collarbones wide, arms heavy. Now roll down and try and feel your own spine, each vertebra one by one. And it takes concentration to work through those tighter bits. Okay, now we're going to go up one more time and add on. So tilt, peel up, feel the whole foot, the big toe side of the foot, lift the pelvis up, arms down. Now imagine I've come along and put a bag of sand on your pelvis. You're going to tip your pelvis to the right and imagine the sand is pouring off your body to the right. Level off. Now tip the sand to the left and then level off. Good. Now, as you tip to the right, think of your left knee reaching forward, press into your left foot, so you're pressing down into that left side. Square off, tip the sand to the left, and now it's your right knee reaching forward, right foot press down. And look, keep going side to side, nice and steady. So you tip one way and you reach the knee, the opposite knee. And you should start to feel this is a bit of a bum toner. So you're working those muscles at the back of the hip, your glutes and your hamstrings. One more each side. The more you reach, the more length you get across the front of the hip. That's it, one more time. Now find your level, reach both knees. Could you roll the marble into your navel a bit more? Really try and get that little tweak of the pelvis. Should make your bottom really be warm by now. And then as you roll down your back, keep that angle, keep the marble in your navel as you roll down. And then level off the pelvis. Good, now keep your hips down, just rest your hips for a second. Reach your arms up to the ceiling. Now feel your back on the mat, especially that mid-back area. As you reach your arms over your head, just be really mindful that you're not arching your back up, your ribs are down. And then bring the arms back down. So just arms a couple of times. Keep the spine long. Imagine you're trying to be tall through the top of your head. We're trying to maintain our height doing Pilates. We're trying to keep that spine nice and tall. Good, now reach arms to the ceiling and do a pelvic curl. So you're going to roll the marble again, roll up through the spine one more time. Feel both feet press down, reach your knees. Now reach the arms over your head and imagine you're super tall in your neck here. As you roll down, really let the chest feel heavy, breastbone heavy, and roll the upper back, back ribs, back waist, lower back, all the way down till your tail's down. Bring your arms back up one more time. So curl, peel off your spine, reach your knees and press down through your feet. See if you can tweak your pelvis a tiny bit more, marble in the navel, use your tummy. The more you do that, the more you're going to feel your hips working, your glutes working. Reach the arms back over the head. Now, last time, as you roll down each vertebra, try and really imagine there's a little bit more space between each backbone, and you're trying to just get longer and taller in your spine, all the way down, lengthen out that lower back, and then pelvis down. Good. From here, we're going to take our hands interlaced behind our head, do a simple ab curl up, breathe out, curl the chest up, look at your knees, your eye lines kind of looking over your knees in this exercise, and then lower back down. Now, as you're doing it, if you're somebody that you notice your pelvis does a little tuck when you do this, try pressing your feet down into the floor slightly and slightly putting your heels to your sit bones. And then when you curl up, try and keep that clock the pelvis really level. So there's no tuck, tailbones down, and then back. Slightly different set of muscles if you keep a level pelvis. It stops the hip flexors gripping, and it means you'll feel your deeper abs, your transverse abs. So the belly feels a bit flatter if you can keep that level pelvis. So it's slightly different muscles. Now we're going to curl up. Stay here, reach your arms, use your hands. Now we're not curling up really high and keep your pelvis level. Can you just lift up one more vertebra of your upper back? Check you haven't tucked, that clock is level still. Breathe here. When you breathe out, try and feel the tummy muscles sinking down a little deeper. See if you can let go and take another breath. Reach your arms to the ceiling, keep your shoulders up, take another moment. Hands behind the head, and then rest the head down. One more like that. So really concentrate on that level pelvis. We're going to breathe out, curl the chest up. Reach your arms. Now use your arms to try and lift your upper back a little bit higher. Breathe. Let go. Breathe. Arms up. Behind the head. And lift down. Okay, quick hamstring stretch here. Take your right leg and hold behind your right thigh. Now watch me not doing the hike here. Feel how your pelvis wants to hike up on that side. Lengthen the right side of the waist and try and keep a level pelvis. And then stretch, bend your right leg. And it almost feels like you have to reach your right buttock or sit bone down in order to not tuck here. Hold it wherever you get to and flex point 4 times. And then put that foot down, left side. So keep your square pelvis, hands behind your left thigh bone, and you're going to stretch, bend. And then you're going to do 4-point flexes. Good. And now we're going to just give your knees a little hug into your chest and just take a little stretch and relax. We're going to go into our 100 exercise next, the Pilates warm-up. Feel free to modify this, feet down if you're injured. Half the exercise is great if you're injured or you've had a break from Pilates. Those of you that are fit and strong and have a regular practice, tabletop or straight legs, and it should be pretty challenging on your abs, not your neck, basically. Okay, so choose your level. Feet down if you're going to do feet down. Otherwise, legs up to kind of tabletop. Reach your arms to the ceiling. I'm going to press my arms down, lift my head and chest up, and if you're going to do straight legs, straighten them out. Okay, hug the legs together a lot. We're going to breathe in and breathe out. Now try and keep your clock face level. Your pelvis is still. Breathe in. Breathe out. Try and really squeeze your legs together, like really try and engage your inner thighs. And out. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, and out. 2. If you feel good, try lowering your legs a bit lower. Grow taller. Breathe in. And out. If that's too much, if it's too strong, take your legs a bit higher or bend your knees. And out. One more time. Breathe in. And out. Inner thighs, tummy, 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 all the air. And then bend your knees in, rest your head. Okay, go ahead, rock up to sit. We're going to do a half roll back, adding a twist. This is a challenge. Start with your legs bent a bit and squeeze them together. I'm going to reach my arms long in a kind of long prayer position like Charlie's Angels. Press your hands together. Now think of the clock, the pelvis is what initiates the roll back, not your shoulders, okay? So imagine you're tipping that marble into your navel, keep curling your pelvis and go down kind of halfway, maybe a bit more, you decide, keep your feet on the ground though. Press your arms together. Now before we twist, could you tip the pelvis more? Could you pull the marble into your navel more? Now you're going to press your arms and twist to one corner of the room and then come back. The legs are still hugging together. Twist to the other corner and back together. Nice and slow, should be pretty challenging on the abs. And there, one last time. Good, and then round yourself up. We're going to repeat that. You can do the same again or try going a little bit further back if you're up for a challenge. So legs are still, heels stay down, curl the pelvis, round back halfway, maybe 3/4 if you're feeling good today. Now try and rotate the pelvis a bit more marble in the navel. You're going to slow motion, twist, come back to center, stay with it, it's hard, twist, and back to center, one more each side. Stay here if you can, try lifting your arms up, down, and then sit up. Okay, good. So now we've really warmed up our abs, we're going to do some roll-ups. If you know roll-up isn't your favorite exercise, feel free to use a band, get some props, use a magic circle even, whatever you've got. You can do half roll backs or just do more pelvic curls if you've done some half roll backs. Those of you that are confident with a full roll-up, you're going to hug your legs together, flex your feet, round your spine, and do some full roll-ups. So as you're going back, you're trying to go nice and slowly through each joint of your back. Reach over the head, frontal really tall, curl up, curl the head in, breathe out, round forward, and stretch over your legs. 3 more times of whichever version is good for you. Roll back slowly, and down, curl up, breathe out, and stretch forward. 2 more. Hug your legs together a lot. And down, breathe, curl up. Now, we're going to do the last one really slowly and finish on our back for the single leg circle. So try and do a really slow motion one. You can use the band, you can use your hands, but try and go really slowly. Keep rotating the pelvis, pull that marble into your navel, reach your feet away from you. Go to a point really slowly. Breathe. Can you go down a little bit more and a little bit more? And then lie on your back. Good. Now just take a moment, lying on your back, and relax your arms. Press your left heel strongly into the floor and try and feel that level pelvis. You can take your right leg up in the air, knee over hip, and we're going to do our single leg circle. So you're going to go across the body, circle down, round, up. Across the body, circle down, round, up. Try and keep the center still. And reverse. Out, round and up. Now you can do a smaller circle, or you can use a band. It's a bit more supportive with a band. And up, good. Lower that leg, flex the foot, push the heel into the floor, left leg up, knee over hip, and we're going to go across the body, round and up. Cross the body. Now try and feel that clock is still as you're moving your hip. And up, reverse it. Out, round, up. We're trying not to hike up the side with the leg in the air. Remember that from your clock. And up. Good. Lower the leg. Now, to transition up, you can do a roll up if you're happy doing roll ups, or hug your knees into your chest and rock up. So bring yourself up. Shift your hips forward for rolling like a ball. Hands behind the knees. That's a good one if you know roll ups are a challenge. That's a bit easier to curve the lower spine. Or hold your ankles if you know you've got a good roll up, okay? Balance, just balance, and think about your rolling the marble into your navel. That action of low belly, low belly, low belly, scooping the pelvis under, that initiates our roll back. Shoulders are calm, body's in that shape, just the deep abs. You're going to roll back till you're on your upper back, and then roll back and balance. Try and think of it coming from your pelvic clock. Sit bones to heels, keep that shape, sit bones to heels and rock up. Okay, watch that you're not coming out of the shape and flattening your back as you rock up. One more time, roll back and rock up. Good, put the feet down, shift your hips back a little bit. We're going to do the traditional single leg stretch, double leg stretch, and then a version of a crisscross prep. So round yourself down to your mat. If you want the more advanced transition is to not go all the way. So you go 3/4 of the way. So you get to just before your shoulder blades hit. Bring your legs up one by one to tabletop. Okay. Hold 2 hands on one shin, other leg out. Now elbows wide, shoulders rolled onto the back. Lift your spine up. breathe, pull that leg in. Breathe, pull, breathe, pull. Now try and feel that low abs, stable pelvis, stable clock, and switch, one more each leg. Good, hug your two knees and rest your head for a moment. Double leg stretch. Think of trying to pause in each shape as if I was going to take a photograph. So there's a little pause. Lift your chest up, hug your heels. Now reach your legs out, your arms out. Imagine I'm going to take a photo. Click, and then come in, take a photo, click. Little shoot out, hold. Shoot in, hold. Keep your back the same. Shoot out, look at your feet. And in, legs hugged together super tight. Out, hold. In, hold, last one. And in. Rest your head, give your head a little breather. Okay, let's just stretch out our arms and legs for a moment and just enjoy a little bit of a stretch. Point, flex your feet. Okay, so we're going to do a version of crisscross. This is quite challenging, be warned. Flex your feet. Now keep your left foot flexed and anchored. Bring your hands behind your head and your right leg is going to be in tabletop. Okay, elbows a little tipped up. Now, really anchor that right leg and heel, and then breathe out and lift your upper body up. And you're going to kind of look down at that left foot. Okay, we're going to add a twist. You're going to breathe out, twist left shoulder diagonally to right knee. Come back to center. Now, keep that left leg long and heavy. It'll stop you twisting your pelvis or rocking over onto your right hip, which happens in the crisscross. Good, last one, twist across. Now, if you want a little extra, this is a bit more advanced. If you're feeling strong, draw the abs in a bit deeper. See if you can lift up that left leg to 45 degrees. Feel the weight of that leg really in your abs. Lower it down and rest your foot and head. Okay, switch sides. Right leg long, foot flex, left leg tabletop. Anchor your right leg nice and flat against the mat. Breathe out, lift your chest up. Look at your right foot. We're going to breathe out, go across. And back to center. When you go across, keep that right side down and get the twist in the upper body. That's what's super hard. Last one. If you're feeling good, the extra add-on. Deepen the belly, pick up your right leg, hold. Hold, and we're going to go straight into crisscross. So switch sides and crisscross, normal crisscross twist. And twist. Clock is still, pelvis is still, everything else is moving. Twist. 4 more times. 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. And then rest your head. Hug in. Just take a breather. Oh, okay, bring your feet onto the mat and relax your arms at your side and just set up for a regular, simple pelvic curl. So feel the soles of your feet, spread out your toes. Relax your arms long at your side body. You're going to tilt your pelvis and peel up your spine. Now keep trying to roll the marble into your navel and then press the back of the arms into the mat and try and feel wide across the collarbones. So because my arms are essentially behind my body at the moment, I want to be really kind of pressing back my shoulders and upper arms into the floor a little bit. Now when I roll my spine back down, try and keep a little bit open across the chest. Once the pelvis is down, the arms might lift a little tiny bit, okay? So we're all a little round-shouldered in modern life. We want to try and get that openness across our chest. So one more time, simple, curl up. Keep that openness across the chest. Collarbones wide, trying to tip the marble into the navel, pubic bone up. And then roll back down. Keep that nice open chest. And down. Now we're going to advance that, so feel free to just stay with a couple more pelvic curls. If you feel pretty fit and healthy, take your legs up to a long tabletop position with ankles crossed. Now remember that movement you just did in your spine. We're going to try and do it with our legs in the air basically. So you're going to try and imagine it's going to be small, but you're going to tilt your pelvis and try and roll a little bit of your lower back up. And then put your lower back down and level your pelvis. Good, so just like the first little tiny bit of a rollover. Tilt the pelvis, lift up a little bit like you're lifting up your bum, and then roll back down. Okay, this could look extremely small, but you want to really feel your abdominals are really working hard to try and lift up your hips. Okay, so this would be the first part of a rollover if we were going to do the whole thing, which we're not today, but that's what we're always kind of working on, the more advanced ones, towards them anyway. And then down. Okay, give your knees a hug in and just take a little rest. We're going to rock up to sit. And we're going to do 2 of the spine stretches. So feel free to grab a block if you know that helps you. Take your legs as wide as your mat. Try and sit up with a really upright, tall spine. Feet flex, knees can bend a bit. Try and sit up really tall. Reach out your arms, and we're going to do regular spine stretch forward. So nod the head, round the spine. Imagine each little vertebra rounding forward, reaching between your feet, and then rolling up. And trying to sit up really tall between spine stretches. And again, imagine each little separate vertebra. You want a little bit of separation, a bit of articulation in all the joints. And then roll back up. Sit up really nice and tall. And we're going to do it one more time. Nod the head, round the spine, round forward. And then roll back up. Good. Now take your arms to the side, and before we do the normal saw exercise, we're just going to do a simpler twist. So just turn yourself to one direction. If you had a torch on your chest, that torch would be shining over one of your legs. Shine your torch in front of you, and then shine your torch to the other leg. Now try and do this without your legs moving. Your pelvis, ideally, is really still. And feel the weight on your sit bones doesn't change. And you're just getting that rotation in the mid-back. Now go towards one side, take the other arm across, you're going to reach towards your opposite foot into the saw, and we're going to do 3 pulses. You're going to go 1, reach a little further, 2, reach a little further, 3, and roll up. Twist the other side, and 3 times. 1, 2, 3, and roll up. Lift and twist, and again. 1, 2, little further. Last one, lift and twist. 1, 2, 3, and then up and come around. Okay, we're going to come onto all fours, and then we're going to do a tricep exercise. So if you start by coming onto your hands and knees, and in a normal box position, your knees are apart underneath your hip joints, your wrists are directly under your shoulder joint, and palms are flat, ideally. Now, keep your hips in that position, but take your arms a little further forward, maybe at least a palm forward, and then try and really spread out your hands, fingers, and really feel the whole hand flat, like you're making a handprint on the mat, okay? Keep your hips over your knees, and you're going to slow motion bend your elbows and just hover your elbows a millimetre off the ground. Press into your hands like you're doing a hand imprint and straighten your elbows. Okay, now when we're doing this, try to keep your elbows parallel, like they look like number 11. And press into the hands as you straighten. So this is working your back arm muscles, your triceps. But try not to let the elbows swing wide, because that will change the exercise. 2 more times, just try and hover. And straighten. And try and hover. And straighten. Sit back, give yourself a break for a second. Now we're going to do, optionally, a push-up, a tricep push-up. If you find that you're finding upper body stuff is very challenging for you, I would say actually repeat that one we just did, that's a slight modified tricep push-up, and do that one again. Otherwise, I'm going to do it on my knees, but you could do a full push-up if you know you're strong enough. Otherwise, come onto your knees. I'm going to demonstrate this one. So now my wrists are under my shoulders. I'm on my knees and I'm trying not to have my bum sticking out if you're on your knees. If you can see yourself, you're trying to be in a straight line, knees, hips, shoulders, head. Now, my face is right over my hands, looking in front of my fingers, in fact. And as I bend my elbows, they're staying narrow at the side of my ribs, so they're not sticking out. And then I'm going to push up. That tricep push up. Bend. And straighten out. If this is too hard, go back to the first one we did, where it's just a just pure tricep modified one. Now, if you can, really press the whole hand into your mat. Think of pushing more with your weak arm. If you know the difference. Do 2 more. Now I'm going to lower really slowly, slow motion, and just land really slowly on your tummy. So go down really slow-mo. And just imagine you're going to hover yourself off the floor and then elegantly land. And then just put your head in your hands and relax for a little bit. Now we're lying on our front for the first time. Think back to the pelvic clock. So if you were lying here, for most of us, we tend to a little bit stick our bums slightly up in the air in this position. So if you let your bottom lift up, let your pubic bone lift away from the floor, and that's rolling the marble to your pubic bone, and that kind of overarches the lower back, yeah? You can feel it's a bit more pinchy in your lower back. If you level your pelvis by slightly reaching your pubic bone down, that's calmer on the lower back. If you do that too much, if you really ram your pubic bone down, then you're in a tuck, and that would be too much, okay? So try and find that neutral, subtle thing where your pelvis is neutral, and think about keeping that the whole time you're lying on your front. Okay, slide your hands back to the sides of the shoulders, fingertips in line with collarbones, roll the shoulders onto the back, so your shoulder blades are on the back of your rib cage, not the side of your rib cage. Check your level pelvis, grow super tall, and you're going to lift your chest up. Come up until you feel your bottom rib, and now check your level pelvis and try and shine your chest forward as if you're pushing your squashy ball forward. And then come back down. Grow tall again. Lift the chest, shine the chest forward, keep your level pelvis. And one more time. And down. Now keep your head hovering, just looking at the mat, face hovering. Reach your arms to the side of your legs, palms facing the thighs, arms up. Now here, just being in this shape, your shoulders want to really roll forward. Try and really roll them onto the back, blades on the back. Shoot your spine tall, check your level pelvis. You're going to reach your arms, try and lift them a millimetre or two higher, hug in a bit more, and then lift your chest up as if you're reaching your squashy ball forward. And down. This could be very small looking, but if you keep your shoulders rolled back and your arms hugging in, you should really feel the back of your arms again and triceps. One more time, try and hold it. Check your level pelvis. There should be no compression on your lower back if you've got a level pelvis. Reach your arms up and down. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then lower down. Bring your hands under your forehead. Rest your head in your hands. So we're going to stay here for one more little exercise. Check your level pelvis again and just lift and lower your right leg without your pelvis twisting. If you keep that, you'll feel the back of your leg and your bum and not your lower back. Keep the leg lifted and now move it across to the other ankle and out to the side like a windscreen wiper. As you're doing this, think of your spine and pelvis staying put. And you're kind of waking up the muscles at the back of your hip. Good. Rest that down. Lift up the other one. Just lift and lower. Pelvis is still. Keep it lifted. Go in and out a few times. and lower down. Now, as long as your lower back is not feeling this, if it is, stay with singles. Otherwise, try lifting up 2 legs, level pelvis, pubic bone down, parallel in and out 4 times. And then turn down, heels together, in and out 4 times. But just really check you're not noticing it in your lower back. So you've got to really keep out of your lower back in this type of exercise and get the back of your hips working. And then rest. Okay, we're going to sit back in a rest position. Use your hands. You can always do a little push-up if you want to add a bit more strength work. Sit back on your heels, reach your arms out. Breathe here. If you want to do the avocado hands, fingers one, that gives your shoulders a bit more of a stretch. So if you've got straight elbows, straight arms, head down, that's a nice little shoulder stretch. Walk your 2 hands to one side, sit back a bit, breathe into that rib and just really stretch open the side back. Walk to the other side and breathe into that rib and try and stretch open that side. Come onto your hands and knees, do a few more cat stretches, so just move your spine around basically. Good. Now we're going to do a front support, a plank, which you can do on your elbows if you prefer. So walk a bit forward. When we step into our plank, we're going to tuck our toes and trying to be in that really good straight line. Head in line with spine. Now just lift and lower your right leg just an inch, like we did on the mat a moment ago. So you're not arching your back, you're engaging your bum. Put that foot down, forward the other leg. Remember, it's not a lower back movement, it's a hip movement. Put that foot down. Now, if you need a break, come down. If you're okay, stay there. Right leg lifted. You're going to do out and in 4 times. Again, try to keep the spine from side bending. Put that one down. Last one, left leg, 4 times out and in. Come down, put your foot down. Come onto your knees. Give your wrists a little shake out. Come around to sitting. We're going to do a side series next, and we're going to lie on our side. So if you're feeling fit and healthy, we can do a slow roll down. Otherwise, use your hands and come down more a different way. Otherwise, round over and then roll down onto your mat. Reach out your feet, try and go through your spine. Have a little stretch out. And then we're going to roll onto our side and set up in the traditional way for side kick, where your body's at the back edge of your mat, your head, shoulders and hips, and your legs are a little angled forward with your toes at the front. Okay, in that position, hand on the floor, feet are flexed, neck should be relaxed. I'm going to lift up my top leg 2 inches. Now try and reach your top leg a centimetre longer. And when you do that, you get that little mouse hole so that your underside isn't collapsed. This section and middle section is working. Bring your leg in line with your body and keep reaching it out like we did with the ball under our ankle the other week. Okay, now keep pressing your bottom leg down, that leg into the mat, top leg reaches long, and we're going to lift and lower. Now just notice I'm not squashing my mouse hole, so the movement is from my leg, my hip joint, and I'm not wiggling around in my centre. Hold your leg up, reach it a bit longer, and now draw circles like tennis ball size circles. Try and keep reaching out long with your leg, and try and get your heel to go a little bit behind you on every circle. And then you feel the fibers of the back hip, the hip, glutes and hamstrings basically. Good, now lower your leg a little bit, get ready for strong, slow side kick. So sharp kick, forward, back, back. Now try to really keep that leg straight. It tends to want to bend the knee when we go back, especially if you're tight in your hips. Back, back, 2 more times, forward and back. Last one, forward and back. Good. Bring your leg on top of your bottom leg. Take a small rest. Now we're going to do the side lift, so lots of sensor connection here. Lift up your legs, bring them back an inch, hover. Feel really tall from your head to your heels. You're going to breathe out, lift your legs up and down, 2 legs. Now we do squash the mouse hole here, so legs go up, mouse hole gets squashed, and then come back and up. So it's a kind of pelvic hike, this movement. Putting your hip up to your armpit and leveling off. Now hold your legs up there and do a slow motion walk, one leg behind you, one leg in front of you. Go nice and slow and controlled. Try not to have 2 legs forward, have one going back, one going forward. Now, if you feel you can balance, try taking your arm up. Good. Come together and then relax down. Okay, we're going to come onto our side arm and do 1 time a side plank. So you can choose whether you want to do it with straight legs or bent knees. Push into your underside arm and really lift up your side, whatever version you do, you want to lift up your side body. Okay, so this would be a knee one or semi-straight legs for a full one. So choose your level, come into a side plank, hold yourself here, breathe. Whatever's touching the floor, push into the floor and lift yourself up away from the floor. Hold it for 4 more counts. 3, 2, and last 1. Lower yourself down, come into a little mermaid stretch. Arm up, side bend, and just take a little stretch and breathe. Bring yourself back, set up for side 2. I'm going to do a roll down since we did this on the first side. So do a little roll down. Roll onto your side, set up on your other side, back of the mat, legs in front of you, toes at the front of your mat, hands supporting you. Lift up your top leg, reach that top leg a little bit longer, so you've got your mouse hole. Bring your leg in line with your body, keep reaching that leg out. Bottom leg presses down, top leg reaches long. We're going to lift and lower, really simple movement. If your leg is very parallel and you're keeping your mouse hole, you should feel this is quite tough on the muscles at the side of the hip and your glutes, basically. The more precise you are, the more difficult it is. Lift your leg up, reach your leg an inch longer, like really try and stretch that heel away from you, and then circle backwards. 1, 2, push back with your heel. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Lower your leg to hip, like get ready for side kicks. You're going to do a slow motion kick forward, back, back, flex, forward, back, back. Keep that knee really straight. It's a hip hinge. Hip hinges forward and back. Forward and back. Last one. And back. Good. Let your leg rest on the bottom leg. Set yourself up for double side lifts. I'm going to lift my 2 legs up. Bring them in line with my body a bit more. When your legs lift up, you're going to squash your mouse hole and then come back. Breathe out to lift and lower. Push up with the bottom leg and down. Good, we're going to hold it. We're going to do our slow motion little walk. So try and get yourself steady, not quick, slow motion. 1 goes back, 1 goes forward. Slowly, 1 goes back, 1 goes forward. We tend to want to bend the bottom knee in this one. As your bottom leg goes back, try to keep your legs straight. Now, if you feel good, try balancing. Come together and rest down. Okay, 1 time side plank of your choosing. So on the knees or on the feet. Both styles, you want to be pushing down with this arm, lifting up this underside. So choose your level, bring yourself into a side plank, hold yourself there, breathe, shake out your neck. My neck feels a bit tight. Whatever's touching the floor, push down, lift up, just hold yourself here. 4, 3, 2, last 1, Bend yourself in. Okay, we can do a little side mermaid, holding the shins, arm up, side bend over, breathing here. And then coming up. Okay, let's do that seal puppy hip stretch. So feet together, knees apart. Just trying to let your hips flop open. Round over. Take a few breaths there. Now, if you're feeling okay to do the seal puppy roll, we're going to do that, but you can stay just having a stretch and breathe if you prefer. Okay, so a little bit like rolling like a ball, but in a different hip position. I'm holding under my ankles. My feet are together. Think back to your pelvic clock. Can you pull the marble into your navel? Can you keep your shoulders quiet? Use your tummy, not your shoulders. You're going to roll backwards slowly and roll back up. You can add the little 3 claps if you know the exercise. So you go 1, 2, 3, roll back. 1, 2, 3, roll up. 1, 2, 3. Just keep rolling. If it goes wrong, just keep smiling. It's good for rolling about, de-stress yourself. Last one. And back. Okay, good. Come around onto your knees. We're going to do a little hip opener and then finish just rolling up to stand. So on the knees, this is just really good kind of deep lunge for our hip joints. We're going to step forward, pelvis forward, nice deep lunge, hands on the knees. You can stay here. This is already a big stretch. Think of trying to tuck the pelvis, pull the marble into the navel. If you feel good, a deeper version of this is opposite hand down, tuck the back foot, lift up that back knee, try and really keep the back leg straight, push your back heel out, and then try and lower your pelvis. Okay, breathe here. Try and watch that back knee doesn't bend. We're going to twist, look up to the ceiling, breathe. Come back around now, keep your hips low and try and drop that back knee so that really gets you into a deep hip stretch there. Breathe there, rock back into a little hamstring stretch. And then we're going to swap sides. Okay, so second time, hip lunge. You can just stay in this one. This is a little easier just to stay in the first version. If you feel good, put your hand down, tuck your toes, lift up into that deep lunge. Push back through the back heel, try and lower yourself. Twist. Imagine you're trying to put your navel on your inner thigh. You're really rotating that torso. See if you can lower yourself. This is a really good stretch for the body. You're getting spinal rotation, hip mobility, bit of strength. Come back, drop that back knee, really deep lunge. Hold there for a moment. Drop back, hamstring stretch. And come back. Okay, we're going to do a plank walk to our feet, nearly through. So as long as you're okay with that, step into a plank one more time. Breathe. Nice and calm. We're going to lift our hips up into an up stretch position. Shake out your head. We're going to bend the legs. Look at your feet as you're doing this. Really try and bend the toes. You can even roll over your toes a bit. Just try and get everything to move a bit. Walk your hands and feet together. Have a little forward hold. I like holding my elbows because it kind of lets your spine have a bit of decompression. So my head's just relaxed, shake out. Your spine's just having a little dangle. Bend your knees a bit. Nice and easy. Nice and calm. Stretch, bend a few times. You can relax your arms and then just roll yourself up to standing. We're going to do a standing roll down. So wherever you might be, just take a spot. Do one time just to roll down the spine. Can't see me, but hopefully you hear me. Nice and easy. Shake out your head and then roll back up. Stand tall. Last thing, just some rises up and down. So find a place to stand. Spread out your toes. Last thing, just rise up and lower down. Rise up, lower down. Now, try to keep the big toe gently in contact with the floor So it's not lifting up and your ankles do that if the big toe lifts up. Okay, so if you keep your big toe down, it keeps the ankles a bit more steady. And you'll feel the muscles in your feet working more if you can really use your big toe more. 2 more times. Good. And then just take a really lovely big stretch up to the ceiling. Just reach your arms up. Just enjoy a really lovely stretch. And then really lovely big arm circle all the way up to the side and down. And we'll finish there. Good job, everybody. Yay. Let me just press stop. Where do I have it? Stop it. Did it even record? Maybe it didn't. I've stopped one.
Thank you, Julia.
Oh, I stopped the video. Hang on, stop my video. I don't know if that recorded. Did I record it? Let's see how it stopped. Stop recording. There we go. Okay.